Good evening. It's 6 o'clock on Wednesday, February 22nd, 2017. Welcome and thank you for joining us tonight for the English edition of Aura News, where we bring you today's top stories translated into English every weeknight. Following a day of meetings with Albania's leaders, European Parliament reporter for Albania, Knut Fleckenstein, gave a press conference today. After yesterday's meeting with the DP chairman, Mr. Fleckenstein urged Democrats to follow through with realizing the judicial reform. The EP member said that if the Democratic Party does not cooperate to conclude the vetting commissions, the international community will be disappointed with the party. We made a strong battle to ensure 50% of the commission members were from the opposition. For this reason, I am asking my Democrat friends to not create the feeling that you have used us, said Fleckenstein. Regarding the concern raised by the Ministers of Integration and Justice regarding the International Monitoring Operation Board, the EPM said, "We spoke to the Ministers of Justice and Integration and heard that there may be some technical problems which may require an agreement between Albania and the EU. The June 18th elections are important for the EU and they must be free and fair to ensure Albania's membership into the European Union." The former Prime Minister Sali, Berisha and the Democrat MP Josefina Topalli responded to Albania's European Parliament reporter Knut Fleckenstein, who asked the opposition to return to Parliament and continue work for vetting, and asked the former Prime Minister to stop with fairy tales about Soros. Berisha replied, "My statements about George Soros and his mafia as being a major risk for Albanian democracy are based on authentic documents which cannot be rejected by those who want to trust in the truth. My denouncements in Albania's parliament against Soros's mafia activity began years ago and have no relation to the current polemics in the US. Democrat MP Josefina Topalli said that she understands the statements made by the internationals. However, she feels the boycott is because of the abnormal conditions the country is in. I understand the internationals. Under normal conditions, politicians should be in parliament. We are elected to be in parliament, but we are not in normal conditions. We hear with respect whoever speaks about our country. We live in freedom of speech and we are free to say our opinion," said the Democrat MP Topalli. The Euro Commissioner for Enlargement, Johannes Hahn, calls the opposition to end the parliamentary boycott, saying that political debate must be made in Parliament. "I very much regret the parliamentary boycott announced by the opposition. The political debate should not take place outside, but inside the Parliament. Cooperation between the government and the opposition is crucial for the country's ambition to join the European Union. In particular, it is of utmost importance to maintain parliamentary continuity in a time where substantial reforms are on the Parliament agenda, such as setting up the vetting bodies for the framework of the justice reform and the electoral reform, including the follow-up of the OSCE ODIHR election observation recommendations, which are essential for ensuring free and fair elections later this year. These reforms are crucial for Albania to move forward on its EU integration path," reads the Euro Commissioner's statement. Since the opposition began its protest, the internationals have issued continuous appeals to end the parliamentary boycott. The same message was issued by the spokeswoman for the EU High Representative Federica Mogherini and also by European Parliament member Edward Kukan. The EU's High Representative for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy, Ms. Federica Mogherini, will visit Albania during her Western Balkans tour from March 1st to 4th. Her tour will include visits to Albania, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Kosovo, Montenegro, Serbia, and the former Yugoslav Republic of Macedonia. The aim of the tour is to have talks about moving forward with the reforms for integration. During her visit, Ms. Mogherini will meet with Albanian state leaders, representatives of the governments of the countries she will visit, and parliament representatives. It is not known whether the Albanian opposition will still be protesting during Mogherini's visit to Albania. Now in its fifth day of protest, the Democratic Party chairman, Lul Zambasha, said that the opposition will not return to parliament. Once again, the opposition leader reiterated that there are no compromises to the opposition's only condition, the establishment of a provisional government, which according to Mr. Berisha would guarantee free and fair elections. The DP chairman vowed to continue with the protests, saying, "We will go through to the end. We will not withdraw and we will make no compromises. We will not make deals with free and fair elections. This is not the Democratic Party's movement, but a national popular movement. This will not stop. Albania will never be as it was before," declared the DP chairman, speaking from the protesters' tent on the boulevard outside the Prime Minister's office. Some oilmen joined the opposition's protest, expressing their concerns about poor working conditions and low salaries. A few days ago, Vasili, the Minister of Justice, sent letters to the Assembly Speaker, the Prime Minister, the President, and the EU and US ambassadors, expressing his concerns over the unclear role and legality of the IMO board, as according to him, the Constitution stipulates the arrival of experienced international observers only to monitor the vetting process. The minister stresses in the letter that the board should discontinue its work until after the parties agree with its role. Today, Minister Vasili was asked about the letter received by Prime Minister Rama from EU Commissioner Hahn, responding to the concerns about the international monitoring operations role. The Minister of Justice clarified that the concern is institutional and not personal. "I have raised an institutional concern regarding the implementation of the Constitution. The Ministry of Justice does not have to wait for answers, as the place for reflection is in the Albanian Assembly. It was a call to be correct with the implementing of the Constitution and respective vetting law. The stance makes the implementation of the law more solid and removes opportunity for the law to be attacked in the future," declared the minister. The third ministerial conference, titled Enhancing Culture for Sustainable Development, was held in Tirane today. Prime Minister Edi Rama was at the conference, where he asked the European Union to focus its funds also on culture, not only on constructing prisons. "I consider it important that the EU has a positive outlook to our request that their funds be not only focused on constructing new prisons, courts, and police departments, but also on bringing beauties of the past to our people," said Rama. "Usually, I face the vulgar critics when related to the Urban Renaissance program. Critiques such as, you invest in facades when we do not have enough to eat. You invest in lights when we do not have water. We have problems. You invest in museums and public spaces. These critics are frivolous, and it's useless to start explaining why," said the Prime Minister. Meanwhile, the EU ambassador, Romana Vlahutin, said that the absences of public awareness and of efficient politicians are the challenges of culture, not only for Albania, but also for the region. "In Albania and other regional countries, there are many challenges for which we are working to attract visitors. There is an absence of funds for the cultural sector, absence of public awareness of cultural heritage, and the absence of ability to draft policies in this sector. Cultural heritage attracts investments and sustainable tourism," said the U.S. ambassador. The ministers of culture and economy declared that promoting cultural heritage helps develop tourism. That's all for our English edition this evening. Please join us again Monday through Saturday at 6 p.m. for your local news in English. My name is Mari, and on behalf of Aura News, thank you and good night.